Alrighty. Anybody there? Can you hear me? I don't know if this is working right. Oh, yeah, hi. Anybody? One person watching. Hello. Alright, so, one of the other mods in our group suggested that I recolor this nifty little suit by Sims 4 Nexus. As you can see, it already comes with a bunch of different swatches already. But that's only 22 of them, and I usually do about 70 of one color palette, and then there's about, all these colors here. So, first thing I do is I pull up the package in Sims 4 Studio, and I decide which one is the lightest for me to work with, because just like if you were to start drawing a picture, then you would start with a blank piece of paper, like a blank white piece of paper, and it's the easiest for you to start with, right? So that's what I like to do when I'm doing recolors. I start with the blankest piece of paper I can get, so to speak. And there's a whole lot of contrast here between the white shirt and the gray suit, but not a whole lot here between the two. So I think what I'm going to do is grab this one. There's a lot of contrast on that one too. I might just use one of these other colors. Oh, that's perfect right there. Alright, so I'm going to use the black suit here just for the white part of the shirt here and here. And with this package, with this download, is a bow tie accessory, the suit, and then a straight up and down tie accessory. And I can do them, I can show them afterwards. So I'm going to grab this black one, and I'm going to title it Black Suit Swatch. And I always export as a PNG, as a ping, and then I end up re-importing it back as a DDS, but I'll show you how that goes. Now, since I use the black suit for the white background. It really doesn't matter what color I use for the suit. I prefer the white, like I was comparing it to a white piece of paper. It's just easier to have it as, you know, brought down the white as possible, because then it'll take the colors that I apply better. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the white suit. And it's good to keep everything clearly labeled and organized. That way you can, you know, don't get stuff mixed up. So I'm going to title this one Suit. And I'm going to grab all the suit things and just throw it in there. Alright, so I grabbed those two swatches, and now I'm going to open them up in Sympxls Studio. And grab these two. Alright. I'll try to make this a bit bigger. No! I don't do that. Okay. So, let me zoom in here. It's been a while since I recolored, so you have to bear with me. Alright, so I want to make sure I can see the whole thing. I think that's about as zoomed in as I'm going to get. Okay, now the good thing about the black swatch is it's going to make it that much easier to grab just the white parts. Because that's really all I want, is the white parts. So I can keep the shirt part separate from the suit. Because I don't want to recolor the shirt, I just want to recolor the suit. So there's a couple different ways to do that. I can either go up to select and select color range here, and then what you do is just click on it, click on the color you want, and you see down here it like shows all the colors. It'll only select just the color I selected, and you can change how much of it is grabbed here. Up here at the fuzziness, see, I move it all the way down to 0 and it hardly grabs any, but if I move it all the way up here to 200, it'll most likely grab all of it. So I'm going to go up to 200 and see how much it grabs, and you see it selected all of it here over here, all of it over here, and almost all of it here. So what I'm going to do is zoom in here, and then I'm going to go to my magic wand tool, and I have my tolerance set to 45 up here. I think I'm going to turn that down to 15. And then I'm going to hit my shift button because I don't want to lose what's already been selected. Once I hit shift, it's kind of like, you know, I can grab more. I can keep what I've already selected and grab more. So I'm just going to click on the parts that I want. And wonderful, 15 was the proper tolerance. And I can grab all this. All right, good. So that's all been grabbed. Let me go down here. And make sure this stuff is grabbed. That's perfect. And then I can come up here. Okay, so mainly all that was grabbed. That looks good. The important parts are grabbed, right? All right, so let me back out of here. And what I'm going to do now is, all that is selected. What I'm going to do is hit Control-C to copy just what is selected, or I can go up here to edit and hit copy. Hola, mis amigos. I'm going to hit copy to copy everything that's already selected. Hopefully this will work. And then I'm going to go to create a new layer on here. Now I can do that by either hitting Control-Shift-N, and this comes up, or I can go up to layer and select new and select layer. Now what I want this to be, right now I'm going to leave it at normal, and I'm going to leave it at color none. I want it to have this grid, black and gray grid behind it, which means it's transparent. I'm going to hit OK. And you can't see it right here, but if you go over here to layers, you'll see there's a brand new layer. See? It's completely white. And if I hit Control V, now there you go. I copied just the white part of the suit, which is what I want. I'm going to hit Control T just to move it down. And you see it snaps right into place. Wonderful. And I can OK that. And alright, so on this layer 1, I have my shirt, and on layer 0 is the full suit. What I'm going to do is rename layer 1. You just double click on it, on the actual name, and I'm going to label this as shirt so I don't get it confused with layer 0, which is going to be the suit. Okay? So layer 1, as long as I don't have it selected how it is now, it will always remain the same. And you'll see how that comes into play once I apply color to the suit. So I can leave that visible by having that eye on, or I can click it off. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to click it off for now just because that's the way I'm used to doing things. Can I? Oh. Okay. Oh, that's a bit bigger. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the suit, and what I like to do when I'm before I apply any color, some people just take it like as is and apply a color to it. What I like to do is I go up to my image and I go to adjustments, and I either mess with the brightness and contrast, or the levels, or the vibrance, or the hue or saturation. Sometimes it's a combination of all four. Sometimes I only use one. Right now it's already pretty white, but I don't like how it's so gray. Like if you look, and this is like an EA thing, it's not a creator thing, but EA in Sims 4, the white is never truly white and the black is never truly black, because the white gets blown out and the black, it like loses its texture definition. But even still, that's a bit grayer than white. You know what I mean? Like here's the gray, and yes, that's gray, but I'm comparing the two, yes, that's white, but it's not as white as I want it. So I'm going to try and bring that whiteness up a little bit, and I'm going to go to image, and I'm going to go to levels. You can also go down here. Go down here and click the circle that is half black and half white, and it'll bring up the same things. Or if I had a thing for it here, and you can, over here on the right hand side, you can make one for it by clicking on properties. I don't remember. That's why I don't use it. But in any case, I'm going to go to levels right now, because technically I'm not sure exactly what it does, but you'll see what it does. So over here, all the way over to the right, is the white side of the scale, and over here is the dark side of the scale, the black side of the scale. And then you see the levels for this texture here, there's hardly any dark, and it's mainly all white. Now the highest of the whites are one of these two, so I just want to take this little arrow down at the bottom and drag it over, and you see how the color changed just a little bit. Now it's getting blown out, so I don't want to go too far up the white scale. Like I can't go here because then it's too blown out. You see how the middle parts are too blown out? But if I go to this one here, that looks pretty, brighter. And then I could also try and mess with the dark side, but I don't like how that looks, so we'll leave that alone. I could also try and mess with these down here. Again, I don't like how that looks, and again, I can mess with it down here. So it's all about playing with stuff and seeing how it looks. I could also mess with this middle one here. But again, I don't like how that looks, so I'm going to put that back to 1. Alright, so that level is good. Oh, it is in properties. How about that? Okay, so that level is good. Wonderful. I can close that out. If you ever want to go back to something because you didn't like what you did, you can go into history here and just click on which one you'd like to do, and it lists all your history here. It only lists them up to a certain amount though, and I'm not sure what that amount is. So you have to be careful. You can't go too far back, which is why a lot of people suggest saving all the time. I don't like to save all the time. I should, but I don't. But you can go back that way, or you can hit, on Windows, you can hit Control-Alt-Z, and it'll take you back. So if I hit Control-Alt-Z right now, it took me back to that new layer that I just created before I modified it at all. But I like what I did, so I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to click on that one. Another way you could do it is if I go to brightness and contrast, I can mess with the contrast here. You see, it kind of, it doesn't, like, it really, it does, but it doesn't really. And then I can cancel it there without really making any changes. See, yeah, that's why it didn't make a difference, because it was selected on there. Okay, I want to make sure it's selected on the suit layer. And then go to brightness and contrast, see if that helps any. Yeah, see how it changes it? Like, now it's blown out, and then now it's not really, which kind of brought it back to where we were from the beginning. So I'm going to leave that at 0. And the brightness here, I can mess around with that too. But see, again, it's blowing it out. So it really all depends on the texture that's already there. If you're not creating your own, it really all depends on your own preference and your own style and what you like. I'm pretty happy with it right where it is. Let's see if there's anything else I want to make adjustment to. We did brightness and contrast. We already did levels. There's no color, so there's really no need to use the vibrance, hue, or saturation, or color balance. So I think I'm just going to leave it right there. And what I'm going to do is select these 2 levels, and I'm going to merge them because I want them together. And rename that suit. Okay, so from here, I want to apply a color to it. What I'm going to do is create a new layer by hitting Control-Shift-N. And this layer, I'm going to have it a multiply. These different modes, it will all do something different once a color is applied. Now, I'll show that to you once a color is applied. Okay, so this is where the fun part comes in. If you don't already have a color palette picked out or of your own making, or one that you're using that somebody else made from around Tumblr or around the interweb, then I think it's best to create a palette. That way you can go back and use it again, and it provides a level of consistency throughout any CC you recolor, be it build by objects or CAS objects. So what I'm going to do just for this tutorial, I'm just going to use, I guess I'll use the vibrancy extended, which is these bottom ones right here. Well, these last 22. These top ones up here are the Wally Miniature Sandwich palette, all these ones. And then this one right here, all the way down to this one, is the Autumn Shade palette. I like that too. I like the muted fall-like colors almost. I love this palette. It's my favorite palette ever, but I like this one, and I like this one too. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to do this, these last 22. So what I do from here is, okay, so I've created a new layer, and now I'm going to add a clipping mask by hitting Control-Alt-G. I'm not quite too sure exactly what it does. As far as clipping mask, I know it has something to do with just applying it to the non-transparent part of the layer. Like this gray and white checkered background is transparent, and I don't want the color applied to that. So the clipping mask will apply it to just what we can see, quote unquote. So I apply a clipping mask, and then I go to my swatches, and the eyedrop will appear as soon as I click on my swatches, and I just select the first one. And you'll see once you select the first one over here, it'll move to your foreground color. And then all I can do is hit G to paint, and then I just click on it. Okay, now you see it turned everything orange. I don't want everything orange. And that's where the t-shirt level, or the button-down shirt level, comes into play. Now I can click on to see that again, and I can still see that there's a white shirt, white sleeves, or the white sleeves, and the white cummerbund. Where is that third part? Is that the collar? I don't know where that third white part is, but now you can see that the white part stayed. And then from there, I'm just going to save it, Control-Shift-S, or go up to Edit, and save, duh. And I go to Save As, and I'm going to save this as my first one, and I'm going to save it as a DDS. If you save it as a DDS, it is less distorted when you bring it back into Sims 4 Studio than if you were saving it as a ping. And Sims 4 Studio only accepts DDS or ping images. I don't know how DDS does it. It's something in the savings, and when you download a DDS plugin for Photoshop, it already sets the settings for you. Like, I didn't mess with my settings anymore after I downloaded that plugin. So I'm going to save it as swatch 1, as save as a DDS, and I'm going to save it. And this is the box that will pop up when you get the save as a DDS. You don't click anything else, you just click save. Okay, it's saved, and now I can go back to Sims 4 Studio, and before I create my own package with the swatches, I'll test it on the already existing package from the original creator. I don't save it as that unless I plan to not release it for download and I'm keeping it for personal. Then I don't mind adding the extra swatch. But if I'm going to release it for download, then I'm going to have to make my own package. I'm going to make my own standalone package for it. But since I don't have to do, this is just a tutorial, I'm not going to do that right now. So when you add a new swatch, you just want to click Add Swatch to test it. You don't have to worry about the shadow, the specular, the normal, or the emission. All you have to worry about is this diffuse texture right here. And I'm going to import the one I just did. Go down here, change it from PNG to DDS. There it is right there. And boom. Baby boy got a spanking new orange suit. I think that looks pretty smart. Okay, so are there any questions? Did I move too fast for you guys? Oh, thank you, Mama. Thank you, thank you. Alright, so to move on to another color, I'm going to do another color and then I'll show you how I do a pattern. I just want to zoom in here. Let me make this bigger. I just want to make sure that none of the orange bled onto the white. I don't think it did because it was a different layer, but that looks super funny right there. But once he has the tie on, you don't even notice it. So I guess I shouldn't be worried about it either. And that part is missing. Is that like that on the other ones? Ooh. Ooh. That's right. I moved the file. Hold on. Let's open that up again. Yeah, that's missing on all of them. Wow, I wonder if the creator noticed that. Okay. Alright, so there's his orange suit. Now to create another color, what I do is I either click on my history and I go back to create a clipping mask, or I do my Control-Alt-C, and it just takes back the color. And then I can go to my swatch and click on my next swatch. I'm going to click this pretty blue one. And because I didn't select another control, the fill paint option is still there. So I don't have to click anything except my color and just go over to the suit and click on it again to fill it with the color. and then I can save it. That's my second one. Save it as a DDS. Okay, and it's saved. So now I just to check out to see if I like it. Oh my god, look how cute. Okay, so alright, so we've got a couple swatches here. A couple color swatches. Okay, good. Boom. Let's go and do some patterns, shall we? Okay, I'm gonna back out. How far am I gonna go back here? I'm gonna go back to name change. Can you try some patterns? Absolutely, I'm gonna do that right now. Alright, so I got my shirt and my suits. Like pinstripes. I gotta see what I have saved, because I have some on my computer and I have some on my hard drive, and I don't really remember where I have them. Let's see. Let's go exploring, shall we? Patterns. Let's see what patterns I got. Do I have any pinstripes? My patterns are so disorganized. These are the most recent ones I got. I have yet, you see, I have yet to like crop them and properly size them. I don't know if I have any pinstripes, hon. Come on, computer. I see I have some stripes, but these look more like wallpapery kind of stripes rather than these look more like wallpapery stripes. What's that one? That one looks pretty. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, I got seersucker. Let's open up that seersucker. Let's see how that works. Alright, so let me open that up. This is where patterns get fun, guys. Are you ready? Are you strapped in? So much fun with patterns. Okay, so I was in this one and it was this one. Alright, so here's the deal with patterns. Nine times out of 10, they're not going to come in the proper size. They're probably either really, really big or really, really small, image size wise. And sometimes they come with these nifty little things around them that you have to cut out of them. So you found a pattern that you like. Okay, this is a pattern I like. What you do here is you go to your crop tool, which is right here, or you can go to image and go to crop. I don't know why it's not selected. I prefer going this way. And what you do is you go up to the top or the sides and see how the arrow changes up top, like it has the two arrows up and down, and over here it has the two arrows. What you do is you just drag this dotted line. What is that called? A dotted line. You just drag it to where you want it to be. So I want to crop out this ruler down here. Okay, and there's nothing else on the top or either side, so that's good. But this also isn't a seamless pattern because there's blue on the left and there's also blue on the right. So if you want it seamless, you might want to crop out a little bit of that blue on the right. And now it can be seamless because it follows the pattern. You dig? But not all patterns are like that, and it's really hard. There's a whole another program you got to download, a whole other freaking thing you got to do to get pattern seamless. It's a pain in the butt. I hate doing it. I avoid it at all costs. Alright, so I've cropped it to what I want, and I got the check mark here, and it cropped. And now I'm going to resize it so that it's appropriate for the textures that we use in game. So I can do that by doing Control-Alt-I to open up the image size box, or I can go up here to Image and do image size. Okay, so it's at 395 by 258, and I believe the perfect proportions for the game are 256 by 256, so it's going to make it a perfect square. Okay. And I have to mute this. No, I can't. Wait, I can. Hold on a moment, guys. I'm sorry. I don't want the chat to keep popping up in the corner. Okay, so it's the perfect size for the game. What you want to do now is go to Edit, and you want to scroll all the way down here to Define Pattern. Okay, you want to click on that. It doesn't matter what you name it. You can name it Your Mama. You can put 50 million letters. You can, you know, put A and keep going down the alphabet and all kind of combinations. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you name it. So I'm going to click OK. And just to make sure it's there, I'm going to double check myself. I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to go to, is it presets? No. I'm going to go to, oh, where's it at? Might be, yeah, I think it is presets. Preset Manager? Yes, I'm going to go to Preset Manager. I'm going to change my preset type to Patterns. And there it is right there, this bottom one. These are all the Peacemaker wood patterns that I use. And these three, I think, are a couple of leather patterns that I found on Google SketchUp that I use. And then these ones are like the default Photoshop ones that I just never deleted because I'm afraid I might need them one day. So, yep, you can create a whole bunch of shit in Photoshop. Well, in Adobe Illustrator is better for creating patterns, like actually creating patterns, like digital art patterns and drawing with a tablet patterns. Photoshop is better for like resizing them and stuff like that. So you create it in one and then you adjust it in the other. But there's my pattern right there. Okay. So I know it's in there. That's good. Now I can close out of this because I don't like having 50 million tabs open at one time. No, I'm not going to make Sims today, hon. I'm sorry. I can't stream and run my game at the same time because, oh, and hi. I can't stream and run Sims at the same time because I'm on a laptop and it severely lags. So I'm sorry. Hi, Eve. Okay, I created my pattern. I got it to the appropriate size. I saved it as a pattern. It's in my pattern presets. So now I can go back here to my suit texture. And I'm going to click on layers here, and I'm going to make sure I'm on the suit layer. I can have the shirt layer showing or not. It doesn't really matter as long as the suit layer is selected, and you can tell it's selected by it's grayed out right here. And then you're going to go down to this little button down here where it says FX and it says add a layer style. Click on that, and you want to click to pattern overlay. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is click on the pattern here, or I can click the arrow down, and I'm just going to scroll down to the pattern I just created. Okay. Now you'll see here that on blend mode normal, it loses the texture behind it. You can't see the folds and the shadows of the outfit. So to fix that, we can just click through here. Most of the time people will use overlay. I find, like, as you can see, that it blows it out. So what I like to use is my favorite multiply. Yes, it makes it a bit darker, but I personally don't mind that. I make sure that my opacity is at 100%. and you can mess around with the scale. It's good to keep the scale at quarter ratios, like 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%, 200%, 300%. I mean, obviously the bigger percentage it goes, the bigger the pattern, the stripes are going to be. But if you have it, I find that if you don't have it in those quarter increments, the pattern can get blurry and distorted. For instance, if I do it at 273, it's not quite as sharp as it would be if it was at 275. And I know right now it might not seem like much of a difference, but once you've been doing it a while, and once you save it and put it in the Sympxls Studio, and again, this is all preference, if you don't mind it looking that way, then do you. But I prefer to be as crisp and sharp as possible. So I actually don't mind the stripes that big, but I'm going to leave them at 100% right now because it is a seersucker pattern, and the seersucker pattern usually tends to be quite narrow and small. Maybe I could even drop it down to 50. No, that's too little. Too little. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at 100% there. I'm going to click OK. And because I only had the suit layer selected, it didn't apply the pattern to the shirt. So you can see when I unview, I don't even know what the proper term is for that, but when I hide the shirt layer, you see the pattern applied to everything, even the white parts on this where it was before. But if I take that shirt layer again, it reapplies it, and I don't have to worry about taking the pattern off the shirt layer. You know what I mean? That's another reason why I create, for meshes that have different parts, I create their own layer for each, because it's just that much easier when I'm recoloring and putting patterns on things, that I can be sure I can apply it to everything, and then I can add back on the different parts that I need, you know what I mean, to make it look right. Okay, so here's my pattern. I'm going to go ahead and save that, and that's Control-Shift-S, and I'm going to put pattern 1 just to keep them separate. Save it as a DDS, save there, wait for the whirly thing. Patterns tend to take a bit longer. And now I can go back to Sympxls Studio. I can create a new swatch, or I can just use the swatch I was using before, because again, like I said, this is just like my test thing. I'm not going to save this, because if I want to put this up for download, I'm not going to be able to put this up for download with the creator's original mesh. 99% of them don't want you to include the mesh, so I'm going to have to create a new one, which I'll show you in a minute. But I just wanted to get a couple of swatches down. So this is just like my testing period. So I like this one and I like that one, so I really don't need them anymore because I seen them and saw that I like them. So I'm just going to import my pattern into it and see what it looks like. And there's baby boy with some stripes. Doll. Oh, look how cute. Okay, so, alright, moving on. Actually, no, let me show you one more thing. I'm going to go back from here, get rid of the pattern. I'm going to show you how to load a pattern file. If you see, or if you download from anywhere that somebody already has a bunch of patterns that they already put together and saved into a pattern file, what I'm going to show you is how to load that. So you're going to go to your presets and to Preset Manager, click on your patterns, go over here to the load button. I already have a ton already saved because it's easier for me and Photoshop, since I'm on a laptop, to have them saved and then just use the ones I want, and then when I'm done using them, take them out of the presets. Photoshop just runs smoother and loads quicker and closes quicker when I do it that way. So I have one here which says Childishy Patterns. I wonder what these are. Clouds, dots. Let's see if I can make these thumbnails bigger. Oh, they're already large. Okay. Flowers, clouds. flowers. That's not really appropriate for boys. Let me take them off. Let's see if I have any more I can load. Fabric-like, fauna, floral, geometric, marble. I really don't see any that would apply to a little boy's suit. Yellow and blue. Oh, I need to name these better. Let's try the yellow and blue. There's really not much here I would put on a little boy's suit either. But just for shits and grins, let's go with this because I see this one here and this one here that could help. Okay, so you've loaded your patterns from a pattern set. Everything's fine. You can click the red X there. You can go back to your layer, make sure your suit layer is selected, go to FX, do the pattern overlay, and go back to your patterns. And there you go. Since I already used a pattern, the previous pattern's settings will apply. It's going to remain on multiply and it's going to remain on the same scale and opacity I used before until I change it. So where do I get my patterns? Every freaking where. No, I get newsletter emails daily from about 7 different graphic sites that offer free graphics and fonts daily. So I get them from there. I get them from spoonflower.com. I get them from, I think there was one that was fabric.com. Their Google SketchUp has some really nice patterns and textures. I get them from all over the place, honestly. Okay, so I really don't like that pattern, but I don't like that one either. That one's kind of okay. I'm in love with this pattern. I don't know why. I want to throw that on everything, like leggings, t-shirts, dresses, all of it. But let's go with this one because it's kind of fun. Let's see what it looks like if we make it bigger. No, I don't like how that looks. Let's go back to 100. Let's see what it looks like if I make it smaller. Okay, yeah, and smaller. Katie, smaller. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Smaller? Smaller still? Kind of like it. I kind of like it that small. I'm going to leave it that small. And let's save it as pattern 2. And I'm going to go to DDS. Save it. Yep, save it. And I'm going to bring up Sympxls Studio again just to check out that I like it. And there we go. It looks a bit wonky down here. But that's the mesh, not my pattern. See, I'm glad I picked this now because then you can see a good example. It's a great pattern in and of itself, but it really all depends on the mesh that you're throwing things on, how the mesh was UV mapped in Blender or whatever mesh making program they use. Like you see, it's kind of already up here, and then it gets really scrunched together down here, and then it gets kind of wonky on the arm. So although it's a good pattern and it looks good in, it don't look that way in Photoshop, once you bring it in Sympxls Studio, you see it doesn't really look that good. So I won't be using that. And there we go. Now we know that is not a pattern. That does not look good on this suit. And I would even probably bet that any horizontal stripes on this suit are going to do this. Now we probably should just stick to vertical stripes if we're gonna do stripes, and that probably solid colors are best because then you can't see all that wonkiness with solid colors, right? So okay, now that I got a couple swatches that I'm cool with, I'm actually going to go back and I'm actually going to delete that last pattern because I don't even want to confuse myself thinking that that's okay to use. Okay, so now I got 3 swatches that I like. I'm going to go to main menu. I'm actually going to close out of here because I'm going to show you what you have to do to create your own standalone package, Sims 4 Studio. Okay, so here is the original mesh, the original package from the creator. So I'm going to select that, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go to my Sims 4 Studio folder right here. Once you install Sims 4 Studio, it creates its own folder on your documents folder. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go to its mods folder, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste that package right onto my mods folder. My mods folder for Sims 4 Studio is pretty pitiful. I have a ton of crap in here because, like my friends know, I have a bazillion things already done, and I don't remove it from my mods folder until it's released for download. So I have a bazillion things already done that, yeah, I just didn't get around to releasing. But in any case, you see it says Sims 4 Tyler Suit. It's in there. So bring that down. Let's open Sims 4 Studio again. And if I go to create a sim standalone, this very first one, okay? This very first one is clicked. We want to click on the big blue button here. Wait for it to load. Now I have all the packs and stuff, so it'll list everything unless I narrow it down. But of course, I don't want EA stuff. I just want the custom content. And I don't have any other toddler stuff on there, so I guess I could just select toddler, and I could select custom content, and there you go. You can select all the swatches that are already available, but that's really not necessary. So I'm just going to pick one, and then I'm going to go next. And I'm going to create a name for my package, which will be, I always started out with my creator name, and I'm going to actually name it the same thing they did because I don't believe in creating new names. I'd rather use the name that the creator gave it because I didn't create the mesh, you know what I mean? So they named it Toddler Suit 01, which makes me think they have another toddler suit called Toddler Suit 02, but whatever. Toddler Suit 01, it's a recolor, and I put RC at the end, that way people know it's a recolor. I don't put in spaces or any special characters in my package name because it just takes the game that much longer to read it when there are special characters. So there you go. That's my package. I'm going to hit save. And now Sims 4 Studio is going to bring this up. And now you see, since I selected just that one swatch, that's the only swatches on there, right? I don't know why Sims 4 Studio used to do this. I don't know if they still do this, but at one point in time, if I was to just import a brand new texture onto this swatch that's selected, it would get really funny in game when it was more than one swatch. Like sometimes it would show up, sometimes it wouldn't show up, sometimes it would show up, but it would show up as the last one instead of the first one, whatever. So my workaround to get rid of that is just adding a swatch and then going back to the very first one that I added a swatch from and removing it. I don't know why it works that way. It works for me. It's just habit for me to do that now. Okay, so like the test ones I did, I'm just going to hit import, and I'm just going to import them all. So I have 3 swatches. I'm going to create 3 swatches. So there's the orange, there's the blue, and there's the pinstripe. Okay, now to get an exact color match in Sims 4 Studio to your pattern or your color, what you can do is go into Photoshop or your image editing program and create a thumbnail that you can import into Sims 4 Studio, and then you can use that as your swatch color. I find that to be a bit tedious because what you really can do is just right click on it and right click on the gray color swatch. You get a eyedropper, and then you can just drag it on over to the color of the suit and select it, and you see how the swatch color changed color. So that's my easy peasy way of doing it. And I'm going to do the same for the blue. And then for the pattern, because it has two colors, we can do two colors. So I'm going to drag it over to the dark part of the blue. And then I'm going to drag it over to the light part of the blue. And if there's a certain color you want to get that you can't quite get from far away, you can zoom in. You know, can't zoom too far in and it disappears, but you can zoom in. And there you go. Now you got a swatch for the orange, for the blue, and for the stripe. I don't ever mess with the meshes tab unless I am exporting something and importing something that really has to do more with creating a mesh from scratch and converting things from other Sims games and other gaming platforms than just recoloring and retexturing. So if you're just recoloring and retexturing, you don't have to worry about this meshes tab. It's nice to know how many polygons and vertices it is, but you don't have to touch it. Categories, this is where you can change the categories for things. Like, I don't want to allow it for random. It's in the suits category. Let's see, it's a toddler, it's a boy. If I wanted to put it in the feminine frame category, I could select that here. If I wanted to be enabled for aliens, I could select it there. If I wanted to select it for swimwear, I could select it there, you know, the whole nine. So it's situation, it's formal, it's party. It's definitely not everyday wear unless you want your little man walking around in a suit every day. I usually unselect the fabric and the archetype and the subpart, the archetype and the fabric and the color palette, because those are three options that I personally don't use when I filter things in CAS. So I just don't even bother checking anything there. I mean, if something's already checked, I might leave it, but 9 times out of 10 I'm unchecking it because I personally don't use it. So, and it's in the suits category. And then you know what? All you have to do now is just hit save, and you're done. You can now take this in game, and your little man will have an orange, a blue, and a pinstripe suit. Of course, you would still need the original creator's mesh, but there you go. That's that. Does anybody have any questions? And does somebody have an object recolor? They can suggest that so I can show an object recolor as well. Okay. All right. Well, nobody's giving me suggestions. I think I'm just gonna go to one of my ones that I want to recolor. Sympxls has some nice stuff, but I'll need to show notation. What do they have? What is this? Okay, this could be a good one to show. Okay, so anybody still here? Yeah, 2 people, it says. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I recolor build by objects. These are a bit different than create a sim objects. Well, rather I go about them a different way. This is a dining chair. What I want to do, looking at it, what I want to do is I want to change the color of the legs. That's a nice wood pattern, but it's not the ones I prefer using. And I also want to change the color, if not the texture, the whole texture of this chair. Because I don't particularly care for any of these. I mean, this one's nice. That one's actually not bad at all, but these are just rather plain, and I want to give it some texture. So this is where knowledge of Blender comes into play. So you're about to see me mess around with Blender, and I haven't opened that in a while, and I hope it doesn't have any updates for me, because sorry if it does. So this is how I go about tackling stuff in Blender, and it doesn't always work this way, but most of the time it does. So I'm going to export the mesh out of here. I'm going to save it because this is why I create its own folder. I'm going to save it as mesh. Okay, so once it saves, it's going to open up your save, whatever you just saved in its own folder, or wherever you saved it to. I'm going to click on that to open up Blender. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to bake the mesh. Oops. I'm going to bake the mesh to get a gray texture for all of it, so I can start over with the texture. So how you do that is, let's see, there we go, because Studio Mesh 0 is the shadow, and Studio Mesh 1 is the chair. See the orange line around the whole chair? Okay, so I have that selected. I'm going to go over here to this world right here, the 4th one in the bottom part over here on the right, and the factor is at 175. The energy is there. The factor is there for indirect lighting. I'm going to change that to 125, 1.25. I'm going to go back over here to the camera. I'm going to select that. I'm going to make sure it says ambient occlusion. Okay, I'm going to come over here to the left side of the screen where it has the plus button and the new, and I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to want a new image. It's untitled. It's going to be 1024 by 1024. I'm going to unclick alpha. I'm going to leave it blank, and I'm going to select OK. Okay, and if you zoom, if you just scroll down on your mouse, you can see all that. You can see the new image it is, or you actually move that over, you can see them both. And then I'm going to once again make sure this whole damn thing is selected, and then I'm going to hit bake down here. No objects found to bake. Oh, of course. Of course, you would say that. Blender gives me such problems. Okay, let's see if this works now. Nope, still not. No. Still not. No, still not doing it, Blender. Nope. No. Okay, Blender, you're being a bitch. Nope. Still not doing it. God damn it. Everything is checked, right? Everything is checked. Come on, Blender. Okay, no objects found. Okay, I'm done with Blender. I'm done. Yeah, I want to quit. Okay. Alright, so thanks, Blender. What I was trying to do was see how the texture here has these, this is the white part here of the chair, these two parts here are the legs. I was trying to get it to have it a literal all gray scale, that way I could take the leg part, put my own pattern on it, take the chair part, put my own pattern on it, but it's being difficult, so I'm going to have to do this the long way, and I hate doing it the long way, but whatever. So I'm going to export this. I'm going to save this as texture 1. Save it as a ping. And that's because that's a white base. And where's another light? There we go. I'm going to export that. Use that as texture 2. Save it as a ping. Alright, now I'm going to open up Photoshop again. Clear all this out. And open up the 2 new textures that I just saved. Okay, so I quite like the light wood of that. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can use a quick selection tool. Yeah, it kind of did it. It kind of grabs himself up there, so that didn't work properly. Let's get out of here. Okay, this is where I'm going to have to use the pen tool. Pen tool is a bit of a pain in the butt, but it works, and it works the way you want it to. So this little icon here, which looks like a pen, is the pen tool. There's many different ways to use it, but this is how I use it. So I go in, I zoom in real close, and I select the corner, the first corner I'm going to start from. Scroll all the way over to the next corner. So what I'm doing is I'm just pretty much telling Photoshop the parameters of what I want to select. So I'm going to hit all the corners of it, and then when I'm done, I want to bring it back to the beginning. You'll see if I highlight over that first square that I clicked on, you'll see the pointer has a little circle right there in the bottom right hand corner. That means it's the starting point, and I guess it's just like a little reminder for you that that's the starting one. So I'm going to click on that one again, and then if I zoom out, you'll see that it's not selected, but you can see where the corners are, right? Like you can see where I selected all these nice little corners. Okay, so what I'm going to do is right click inside that thing I just selected, and I'm going to do make a selection. I want a 0 radius. I want it to select just the corners I clicked on, and I'm going to hit OK. And if I zoom out again, then you can see the dotted line, the dashed line selection. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here and do it again on this one, but I'm going to make sure I'm going to hit Shift when I do that, because I don't want to lose, actually no, I don't have to hit Shift with the pen tool. That'll stay selected. So I'm going to come up here to this corner, and I'm just going to click on that. Did it stay selected? It did stay selected. Okay, sweet. I'm going to click on that corner, and I'm going to go here and click on that corner. And I'm going to close it. I'm going to right click again. I'm going to select make selection, but instead of a new selection, I'm going to add to the selection I already have. So I'm going to click on the add to selection, keep it at 0 radius, click OK. And now you see it selected. I have just the wood part of the legs selected. And like we did on the white shirt for the suit we just did, I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to hit Control C, or I'm going to go up to Edit and hit Copy. So I'm going to hit Control C, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to go back to this first texture, which is the all white, which is the easiest one to apply any new textures or colors to. And I'm just going to hit Paste. And since it's slightly below where I need it to go, I'm going to hit Control T so I can transform it and put it where I want it to go, and it's just going to snap real nice into place. And I'm going to select it, and there you go. Now we got a white swatch with light wooden legs. Okay. And if you click here on layers, you'll see that the legs are on this layer, and this is the chair padding. And if I unshow the legs, you'll see that it goes back to the brown one. Okay. And same with the chair padding. If I don't show that one, you'll see it's just the legs. Okay, so I've got this white background. I have it selected, and we can go again like we did with the suit and adjust its brightness and levels and such. But since it's already such a bright white color, I really don't need to do that with this. So I can just take it from here and recolor from here. So I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to change the mode to multiply. I'm going to add my clipping mask by hitting Control-Alt-G. Go here to my swatches, and I'm going to pick my first swatch. So let's pick this pretty pink color right here, the second one in from the right. And I'm going to hit G, and there we go. Because I had the chair padding layer selected when I applied the clipping mask, the color will just apply to the clipping mask. It will not affect the chair legs. So I want to see how that looks, and I'm going to save that as my first texture. Save it as a DDS. To save. Oh, wow, look at that. Okay, now I'm going to go back to Sympxls Studio, and just like I did the last one. Ew, what in the world? Why did it do that, y'all? Oh my god, that's so weird. I've never seen that before. Okay. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that, funny chair? Why'd you do that? Oh, now everything's freezing. Oh no. Sympxls Studios acting crazy. Come on, Sympxls Studio. Really? This is how you feel? Of course. Oy vey. Just close out, why don't you? Did it again. How weird is that? And it's going to freeze again because I keep doing the same dumb things. Okay. I don't know what Sympxls Studio is. I don't know what its deal is. Okay, let's not make the same stupid mistake again, Katie. I'm just going to test it out on already existing texture. Alright, there we go. Now we got a brand new pink swatch with the light wood legs. And if we were to apply a pattern, just like we did to the suit, I'm going to go back to my new layer, because for some reason patterns don't really apply well to gray clipping mask, but then I guess if I'm doing a pattern overlay, it is its own clipping mask. Yeah, it's, I can't even do a new layer. Okay, so let's just go with one of the patterns we already have uploaded. Yeah, that's a pretty yellow. Pretty yellow and white. Okay, now it's at 25%. Let's see what it looks like at 50. Nah, too big. 25% might be it. Okay. And wait. That was that multiply? I don't see any shadow. Okay, whatever. Let's save that and see what it looks like. Save that as 2. DDS. Oh, there we go. Oh! What's this nasty seam down the middle? Oh. No. Alright, well, there's that flaw with that mesh. Because this is a seamless pattern. It really shouldn't have done that. It's the way it was mapped. Darn it. Where is the seam? This is the back of the chair. That's right here. So I guess this whole thing here is mirrored. Yeah. Well, that's a bummer. Damn it. Well, what can I do? I can't do anything. Let's see if another pattern will look okay. This is the reason why, guys, you see so many people only do colors, because some meshes don't look well with patterns. Like we saw on that one pattern with the suit, and now this chair. I saved really quick. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, but I still notice it, and that is going to irk the hell out of me. I can notice it down the middle of this chair too, right here. In any case, oh, sorry, tired guys. In any case, the pattern looks really good. I don't think I would increase it in size. I might even decrease it in size, because that's quite a large pattern. 5% is too much. 10% might make it blurry, but let's see what it looks like. Alright, now see the mirror part in the middle isn't so noticeable at 10%, but you see how the pattern got quite blurry and distorted when we saved it at 10% and not 25%. So that's what I was talking about before. You gotta be careful sometimes. I mean, if that's fine with you and you're happy with it, then I am not shading you one bit, but I don't like that, so I will be not using 10% pattern on this chair. But that's how you add patterns to things. That's about it. So unless anybody has any questions, I wish I could have baked it so I could have showed you how to apply my own wood texture to it, or the wood texture I use. That chair really bummed me out that it's mirrored like that. because now almost every pattern's going to look like poop. I'm surprised it doesn't. See, it's not really noticeable in the chevron because it just looks like it's following. But now that I got close, I can tell, you know? Sneaky, sneaky custom content creators. Sneaking in that mirror line right there. Sneaky, sneaky. Alright, well, nobody has any questions. I'm going to end the stream here tonight. I'm going to try and stream again tomorrow, showing you how to create your own alpha hair textures. And then apply colors to the texture, because there's a couple different ways to do that as well. And how to recolor, how to just recolor alpha hair without applying a new texture, and how to recolor Maxis Match hair without applying a texture. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for joining me on the stream. I really appreciate it, and you guys have a good night and happy simming.